surprise. You know, Jim is a mission freak. Is that the word? Addict, whatever. But you know, we soon discovered that when we moved into the neighborhood, we didn't dare put up our Spartan flag. But I found out later that Jim had a broad-minded streak because he could root for the Spartans too. I was really impressed. But seriously now, what really impressed me, I think the most about Jim was the way he handled adversity. He went through so much. I just couldn't believe as I was hearing all of the things, procedures, operations, all the stuff he was going through. And in my mind, he was nothing but to be admired for the way he went through all of that. I found it very inspirational.
Jim truly was a sports fanatic, and the word fanatic, the word fan comes from the word fanatic. And Bob and I especially would tease him a lot. He would tease us back. And it's just unfortunate that Jim would always root for the wrong teams. Yeah, I remember one time that Bob and I took him up to Green Bay when the Packers were playing the Lions. And true to himself, Jim can make friends with anybody. And he had everybody in our section his friend by the time he left, even though he was a Detroit Lions fan. I think part of it, though, was that the people around us were all starting to feel sorry for him because the game was definitely not going in his favor. So by the time we left, everybody was saying, you know, well, maybe next time your Lions can do better. But it was always fun, the sports angle there, and I will always remember Jim for that. Thank you, Jim.
Anybody else?
If nobody's got anything, I got just a couple of things. I didn't. It came up the other day. I didn't bring it up. Actually, I think Tom and Brad did. Who could forget the popcorn?
Yeah.
Right? At the campfires, some of the best popcorn around. I didn't eat that much popcorn, but everybody told me about it. The other thing is, I don't think a lot of us in the neighborhood last summer knew how bad Jim was, health-wise. And as you know, last summer we were helping out another neighbor with his lawn. Jim was out there helping. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. I got finishing support.
Well, I just am overwhelmed by your love. And he would just be so amazed. For someone who never wanted a card or a prayer, he has so many cards and prayers. And Bob, you say you didn't realize how sick he was. I was his wife, and I don't think I realized oftentimes how sick he was. And I just, you know, he loved the neighborhood, and I mean, this is just what you guys do, and I mean, that's what neighbors are for, and he just loved this neighborhood, and so I just thank you for your overwhelming generosity. I'm just astounded by it, too. I just thank you all, especially you, Lee, and especially all the guys he golfed with, because he just loved the game, and if you golfed with him and put up with him the last couple of years, you know how hard he struggled to keep at it. That was his one thing he wanted to get back to. And, you know, John had to watch his ball and find his ball and get his ball. And, you know, he'd drive me practically on the tee or on the green just so he didn't have to walk too far. And, but he loved the game. So this is just a perfect tribute. Thank you very much.
Comus family version of what we remember about Jim. When I reflect back to when I first met Jim, I wasn't sure what to think. The man like blue and gold, and I don't mean the Delavan-Darien Comets. Over a short time, we found common ground in talks of technology. Jim better as the phone would ring 4, 5, or maybe sometimes 6 times a day, much to Marilyn's dismay, with Jim bringing about questions or looking for opinions on how to do something with some piece of technology in the house. That bared its way up to some of the last visits at the hospital that we had when we joked with Jim that he's really going to extremes to become half machine. His humor, as you can see based on that, was and is still all with all of us. While we enjoyed the games of golf and bowling together, we enjoyed the social time together as well. Augie credits his love of golf to Jim, since he probably would have not played so much had it not been for those calls that started at 11 a.m. on Fridays for, "Hey Augie, let's go golf." I credit my life of having ice in my beer to Jim, since we shared the common problem of being too warm all the time while bowling or golfing, while our spouses were doing just fine and being all calm and cool and collected. Jim taught me not to hesitate, to ask for what I really wanted or to fight for it, and to enjoy the many moments of life because it goes by too fast. This was often seen in the camping stories Jim would share with us about the boys when they were young. I'll carry Jim's positive attitude and good friendship with me both in my personal and my professional life. I remember his seasoned popcorn, to share with all of his ability to say, "Let's do a bonfire at a moment's notice." Jim helped us all to see that being good neighbors to one another made life that much more enjoyable for all. Even in the hospital, as Jim came to following his surgery at the end of January, he scribbled a note to Marilyn, "Kemlon, call Lee." So see, even in his hardest moments, he still remembered we all had a need. Marilyn, I learned from your strength. These months of 2008 have not been kind to you. I know you still have good days and not so good days, but please continue to lean on the friendship of your neighbors, because Jim would remind us all, that's what neighbors do. So, if everybody would like to stay and join us, we'll go in greens and have a little social time. And